Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope everybody is well. Uh, we have already discussed the customer driven marketing, which is basically the segmentation and the target market, selecting the right customers for your product or the service, providing with them with the differentiation to actually position their mindsets to a certain level where they actually find your product to be useful, and they find your product or the service to be better than the other product services. And we also discussed that how can you actually gain the competitive edge over your competitors by offering your customers something extra, or something more through by applying the tool of marketing mix. We actually discussed in detail that how marketing mix can actually provide the customers with a certain positioning, the targeted customers with a certain positioning, and give you the competitive edge in the market, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually see that how can you actually plan the marketing, right? In order to actually plan the marketing, what you need to understand and what you need to actually think is basically the first thing that comes to your should actually come to your mind is what are your possible weaknesses, what are your strengths, right? And then you should actually think about the competitor and the products and the services that the competitor is offering at this point of time, and how do you think that the competitor actually may may strategize their marketing and their product to be launched in the market, and how can you possibly compete with your competitors, and how can you gain the competitive edge further. Now in order to do that, we have already discussed this thing in the class before, that in order to see what is your position in the market at this point of time, and how do you think that your product can actually provide some extra value to the customer, you must apply the SWOT analysis. We have also exercised the SWOT analysis before in the class, and we actually have seen that the SWOT analysis brings around the strengths and the weaknesses of the firm, or of the product that you are developing. Plus, it actually gives you the strengths, the opportunities in the market, as well as the threats which are being imposed on you by your competitors. So revising this thing once again, and the SWOT analysis, these two things, the upper one, which is actually the strengths and the weaknesses, these two are actually internal, right? So you know that, and these two are actually external. So when we talk about the market opportunities and the market threats and the strengths and the weaknesses, always remember this thing, that the strengths, just sit down, see what your strengths are, where you think you are actually strong, where you think the places where you think you are strong, those strengths can actually be developed as the opportunities, right? Similarly, the sort of the weaknesses that you have, you must overcome these weaknesses and bring the weaknesses back to the strength, right? And these weaknesses, because your competitors would actually evaluate your weaknesses, and these weaknesses can turn out to be your threat, right? Similarly, it's other way around. If you see the picture from another perspective, that would be that any of the competitors may have a strength, right? They might have a weakness. What you need to identify in order to differentiate is to see that what their weakness is, right? Where do is there a weakness in their service? Is there a weakness in the product? What are they not offering? And what you can do is you can actually turn this weakness as a threat to them by in, by incorporating that weakness as your strength, right, to give you a certain opportunity in the market, right? So what you need to do is, while you're marketing something, while you're actually developing a marketing plan, what you need to literally do something is you need to actually identify what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what are the possible market opportunities, because the weaknesses will actually give you the opportunities, but if you don't cover your weaknesses, those weaknesses would come out to be your threats. And this is exactly what you would like to have about the competitors, that you'd like to see the weaknesses of the competitors and turn those weaknesses into certain opportunity for yourself and as a strength. And that strength would in return turn out to be your market opportunity. Okay, and now, having said that, once you have done your SWOT analysis, now this analysis over here, once you have analyzed what are the possible strengths, what are the possible weaknesses, what are the possible opportunities in the market, and what are the possible threats in the market at this point of time, what you need to do is you need to plan. The first step is to plan. Now, this planning, you develop the market, you actually strategize, right? And this is exactly what we had been doing, right? One of the perspectives in the SWOT analysis, you might see that, and your competitor named as ABC is actually targeting a certain segment. For example, demographically, it is actually targeting an age group between 50 and 60. What you would like to do is you'd like to actually turn that demographic segmentation in a way that you actually develop a certain plan or the strategy to actually provide another segment some useful product, right? So what you need to do is you need to actually go back and see whatever we have studied in the customer driven marketing so far, and the things that we have actually seen in the market segmentation, the target marketing, and the positioning and the differentiation, and to provide them the core customer values, and apply this marketing mix on your potential customers to actually give them a better positioning about your product. And this is exactly what your strategic plan is, right? And then this strategic plan and the market plan is then implemented over here, and it's not only the implementation that you just make a plan and then you implement it. What you actually do is you actually observe it as well, right? And you actually see whether the plan that you have made is actually bringing any result or not. If it is not bringing any result, you go back to the planning phase or the implementation phase and see whether how can the strategy or the plan that you have actually developed so far can actually have a positive impact. Now, in order to do everything that is being explained in this slide, what we actually need to see is, and we need to actually prepare this particular document, which actually gives you an executive summary, executive summary actually means that the main goals and the recommendations of the plan for the management review, right? Similarly, the current marketing situation. Now, this current marketing situation actually provides an information about the target market, which is actually over here. We have already seen how can we actually select the targeted market, right? Company's position in it, including the information about the market product performance, competition, and the distribution. We have already seen the distribution, the competition, right? And what are the possible market, what is the market description? We have seen how can we actually define the market major segments, and the segmentation we have already seen. The product review that shows the sales prices and the gross margins of the major products on the products line. So basically this is evaluating the competitors, right? So we also saw that we wanted to evaluate the competitors. Okay. Now this next point is a competition that identifies major competitors and assess their market positions, strategies, product quality, pricing, distribution, and promotion. Again, this is all what we have actually seen before as well. This is also the evaluation of the market. Then the distribution of that evaluates the recent sale trends and the other development in the major distribution channel. This is also an evaluation. So you can see how extensive the market is being evaluated when you are actually developing your marketing plan. So this is all basically about the current market situation, that what is actually going on in the market at this point of time. So you need to have a keen eye on the market, that how the market is behaving at this point of time. And now similarly, now threats and opportunities, this is exactly what we did just in the first slide, and that is basically about the SWOT analysis that we did, right? And over there it's basically threats and opportunities, right? Assess the major threats and the opportunities that the product might face, helping the management to anticipate the important positive and negative developments that might have an impact on the firm and its strategies, right? So we have discussed it in detail, that how can we identify the threats and the opportunities, how can the strengths and the weaknesses can actually come out to be the opportunity, how the strengths can be can come out to be as an opportunity, and how can actually weakness become a potential threat for your company or your firm. Then there is an objectives and issues. Now these objectives and issues actually states the marketing objectives and the company would like to attain during the plan's term. Then the marketing strategy. This actually strategy gives you the complete strategy, that how are you actually going to give a customer the value, right? How the customer will actually be valued. This valuation of the customer actually depends upon the differentiation that you actually have actually come up with. Then it actually is the positioning, right? And within the positioning, we would like to see the mix, the marketing mix, right? This is exactly what's mentioned over here, right? That actually the market, what is the marketing mix, what segments are you choosing, what are the potential targeted customers, how you're differentiating your product, how that differentiation is actually giving a certain positioning of that product or the service in the minds of the customers, right? So this is what a marketing strategy is, right? Once you're done with this thing, how are you going to implement it? Who will do it? How much is that marketing strategy going to cost, right? So this is all which is discussed, which has actually been discussed in the financial section before. So I don't think that is any problem for you people, because we have already discussed that whenever we calculate the finances and the cash flows of the company, we have to keep in consideration these costs as well, right? Any costs which may incur in marketing the product or the service, right? So this is exactly what has been discussed over here. So the first a few weeks, we had actually discussed the complete financial plan. So that financial plan, in that particular financial plan, this section has to be included, right? This as well as the budget, which actually shows the profit loss statement. So you have to give that if you are spending like if you're spending like rupees 1,000 on it, how much money are you going to get, right? Now, the distribution, the costs on the production, distribution, marketing differences, and the project profit. This is the total budget, and this is exactly the sort of the budget that we had actually calculated before, right? When we talk about the controls, then the outlines of the controls that will be used to monitor the progress allows the management to review the implementation results and spot the products that are not meeting their goals. Return on the product investment. If something is now, this control is basically the control of the higher management, right? Because the higher management needs to see that if you are actually spending a certain amount of money of the company on a marketing plan, they need to see the results that whether because of that marketing have the sales gone up, have the customer base improved because of that marketing strategy or not, right? So this is basically the control is if they want to actually tweak the marketing strategy and they want to actually change the goals, or if they want to actually change anything in the marketing strategy or the customer base, they should be able to actually do it. So in totality, what we need to do is while we are marketing, while we are planning to market, we need to first evaluate the market by using the SWOT analysis. We need to see what our strengths and weaknesses are, and we need to actually see how can we actually use our strengths for gaining the opportunity, and how can and our weaknesses can actually become our threat, and the vice versa for our competitors as well. We would like to see their strengths, their weaknesses, and how can we actually manipulate their weaknesses and turn those weaknesses into an opportunity for us, right? Or a threat for them, maybe, right? And then we need to actually list down every single detail of that marketing plan in a format like this: executive summary, current marketing situation, threats and opportunities, objectives, issues, marketing strategy. Now this is the sort of the information that I would like to actually see as well in your marketing plan, in the project that I've already given you, right? So this marketing plan will actually help you in doing your project, right? So that was all for the marketing plan and how you will market your product, and how you will actually gain a higher edge using the SWOT analysis, and turn the strengths into the opportunities, and the weaknesses into the threats for the competitors. If you have any questions, you can actually comment below the video, or what you can do is you can WhatsApp me or call me. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hope to see you next time, inshallah. Allah Hafiz, and take care.